Right now we're in Nanjing and we're heading to the Aerial Martyrs Memorial Hall, and I was there in my first trip to China. I have a few more items from the Pacific Theater. I paid for them out of pocket and I am donating them to the museum. I'm delivering a big speech, and there's, I think, going to be a lot of press and attention for this. I'm a little nervous. I would like to remind everybody I am actively looking for items from the Pacific Theater. If you have anything, today I'm donating a knife, a handwritten letter from a Japanese soldier, and a couple photographs. They're innocuous. They're not anything bad. I should say they don't depict anything bad. But if you have anything related to this conflict, I am actively looking to buy it and put it in the hands of museums here. So please reach out to me, let me know. I'll pay more than a fair price. I'm happy to give you credit if you want credit. This person today did not want credit. They wanted to remain anonymous. But this is the right thing to do. These items belong in museums. This is such important history to the Chinese people.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I have a few words I would like to read when we're done here, but I'll show you what I have brought from Minnesota today. First, I have a Japanese knife. I also have a series of photographs here. Some Japanese soldiers, one of them we see holding a katana, probably taken between periods of conflict. It looks like they're leisuring. Another photo here of Japanese troops in uniform standing in what appears to be a Chinese city. And then finally, for photographs, it appears to be a Japanese soldier, and I would think that this is Japanese press sitting with him. And I'm under the impression all three of these photos were taken on Chinese land. So it's Japanese occupiers standing inside of China. And then finally, I have a letter from a Japanese soldier, and there's a photo of him writing this letter. Now, part of this, what a layman may think is something that is insignificant, is of great historical significance. Every item that's like this is important and deserves to be preserved. Doesn't matter what the letter says, it is history, and history needs to be protected. So now I have a few words I would like to read, everybody. 大家好，我叫埃文凯尔，我是你们的美国朋友。Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Evan Kale, and I am the proud recipient of Gualitzu, the national gift of porcelain from the Chinese government, bestowed upon me in 2022. This extraordinary honor was awarded in recognition of my efforts to educate the world about the horrors of the Pacific Holocaust, particularly the atrocity known as the Nanjing Massacre. As many of you know, I am the owner of St. Louis Park Gold and Silver, a precious metals and collectibles business based in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. In August of 2022, I received a photo album from a customer in another state who mailed it to me, hoping I would buy and resell it for profit. Upon examining the album, I quickly realized that the contents may have captured evidence of war crimes. The images were graphic, disturbing, and deeply significant, depicting moments of history that are both painful and unforgettable to the Chinese people. I chose not to treat the album as a commodity. Instead, I paid for it out of my own pocket, and I donated it directly to the Chinese Consulate General in Chicago. Since then, I have unexpectedly found myself in the spotlight, not only for my role in bringing greater attention to the Nanjing Massacre, but also as a symbol of peace and friendship between the United States and China. I am now on my second trip across China with the goal of showcasing the beauty of this country to the West. It is my hope that this will deeper foster cultural understanding, promote tourism, and strengthen diplomatic ties between our nations. But I come today with more than goodwill. Since receiving the national gift of porcelain, I have taken it both as an honor and a responsibility to continue serving as a guardian of history. I believe deeply that historical memory must be preserved, studied, and shared if we are to avoid repeating the atrocities of the past. As I often say, history must be protected in all its forms. Recently, the United States suffered a devastating tragedy. A series of wildfires tore through Los Angeles, claiming lives and reducing entire neighborhoods to ashes. As I watched the news, I couldn't stop thinking, what priceless pieces of history might have been lost? What photographs, letters, or relics kept in private homes vanished forever. It is my firm belief that items of historical significance do not belong hidden away in private collections. They belong to the people. They must be accessible so that we can learn from them, so that we can build a brighter future together. After returning from my first trip to China in February of 2025, I launched a new initiative through my social media platform, widely known as Pawn Man. My mission is to locate and recover more artifacts from the Second World War and ensure that they are properly preserved in the hands of scholars and museums where they belong. I am proud to say that upon returning to China from Minnesota, I brought not only friendship as a private citizen, but also several historic items from the Pacific Theater that I personally acquired and wish to donate today. These include a Japanese knife, original wartime photographs, and a handwritten letter from a Japanese soldier. As I stand here today in Nanjing, a city that has suffered unspeakable pain, please don't forget my message. War is never the answer. Peace is the only path worthy of our species. It is honorable. It is dignified. It is our shared duty to protect it. I make this donation not as a diplomat, not as a representative of any government, but as your American friend. One who believes passionately in the power of remembrance, the value of reconciliation, and the hope of a better future. The artifacts I present to you today are symbols of an atrocity, but from this gesture, I hope that we can find healing. Let these relics speak not of the pain of the past, but of the peace that we must choose in the present. With love and goodwill in my heart, it is my deepest honor to be here, to make this donation, and to reaffirm my commitment for protecting history and uplifting peace. It is my hope that through continued collaboration, I can use my voice and my influence in the United States to rescue more items of historical significance and ensure they are placed where they can teach, inspire, and help build a world worthy of generations to come. Thank you all. Oh, thank you.
这3件文物的来源可以帮介绍一下吗？是从什么样的一个渠道收集到的
Okay, can you talk a little bit more about the origin? Like, where did you obtain the background of the people who gave it to you?
They're my viewers. This came from a viewer / follower who their grandfather served in the Pacific as a United States soldier, and somehow they captured these. I don't know exactly how they came to be in this person's hands or their grandfather's hands, but the grandfather brought it back when he was relieved of his duty after World War II, and they've been sitting in an attic, you know, very much like the original photo book had been.
How do you feel about this donation compared to 3 years ago?
This is mentally a lot more controlled because the first time around was absolute chaos, mainly because people thought I was faking the whole thing and I was using a war crime to get famous. So I've kept this under wraps. I didn't want any scrutiny in America because there's still, unfortunately, people believe that this is all a big hoax still, and that just is due to the American media and what they wrote about me. So this is a lot more relaxed. I'm also more used to having this role, having this position. And I am a lot less nervous today than I was when I met the ambassador that came to Minneapolis a few years ago.
How do you view the significance of this donation?
Well, every item is historically important. What may seem like something that's not important to somebody might be hideously important to somebody else. All of these items deserve to be protected and studied for future generations to come. It's also my privilege to be here today bringing such goodwill and positivity. There are definitely some issues that are going on right now diplomatically, and I like to be walking in here as a private citizen and reminding the Chinese people that American ordinary citizens like me are good people, we have kind hearts, and that is something to be remembered forever.
So the photo album that you donated have pictures of China many years ago. So now you see the differences between how much China have developed. Can you tell a little bit the difference between back then and now?
I wouldn't even say back then and now. I would say 10 years ago and now. I was in Shenzhen a couple weeks ago, and I was looking at photos from like 20 years ago. China is developing very, very fast. I mean, there's things here that just blow me away. It's like living in the future. A lot of these cities that I go to, it's very, very impressive. I got to see a bunch of different locations from the photo book on my first trip to China. I would stand in the exact spot where a photo had been taken. I'd be sitting there with the book and looking and just being marveled by how much things have changed. But yeah, I mean, 87 years ago, no, more like 20 years ago. It's just incredible what's happening in this country.
How do you think the heritage of the artifacts can help people, the young people, to understand the history of the World War II?
I have a very large following now in China, and when people see me attending things like this, coming to these museums, I hope it encourages them to come here if they have never been to these places before. Going to a museum is a lovely thing. You learn so much. And with my voice and with my actions and what I do, I speak to history, I keep it alive. How did I get Gualitsu? It was not only because of the fact that I donated the album to China and I did what the Chinese government saw as a selfless gesture, but I got that massacre was trending all over the world. People were saying, I never knew, now I know because of you and your video. So by using my voice, by using my influence, by visiting these sites, so it's the same thing as what I'm doing right now, trying to get Americans to come here to China and see it for themselves. By having a spotlight on me, it allows others to look and see where that spotlight is and think for themselves, maybe I'll go see that too.